Part 3 begins with Ethan rushing Ben and Amy to the hospital. Fortunately, the doctor informs that Ben doesn't have any major injuries and will recover soon. A few moments later, David arrives at the hospital, disappointed at how the reckless group could do such things, but Pam manages to calm him down. She suggests that he organize a celebration program in order to let people know about how blessed they are to live in Wayward Pines. Later, David is at the coffee shop when he notices something unusual about the coffee shop employee named Ruby. Following this, he goes to the headquarters and tracks Ruby, only to discover that she has removed her chip. David then suspects that someone on his own team is assisting the reckless group, because no one could hide from the camera and meet secretly to prepare a bomb. As a result, he asks Pam to conduct an internal investigation into everyone working in surveillance. Upon doing so, Pam discovers that many of the workers are happy to keep tabs on the town people for their leader. However, Pam learns that a worker named Reggie has been erasing footage of people crying out how they got here. According to Reggie, it's human nature to ask questions. Hearing this, she suspects him, but she uncharacteristically doesn't divulge this information to her brother. On the other hand, Kate is asleep, dreaming about the past. The scene shifts to a flashback in which Kate is shackled, yelling about getting out of town and demanding to speak with someone in charge before Pam injects her with a sedative. Later, Kate recalls another meeting with David. This time, she duped David, pretending that she had accepted the laid-back life of Pines to the fear and anxiety of her previous life. A short time later, David pays her a visit in jail and inquires as to how she could endanger so many people's lives. Kate responds that he is the one who has condemned people to hell. He tries to explain that what he's doing is for the benefit of humanity, but she doesn't understand. Following this, David returns to the headquarters and directs security to apprehend Reggie. Pam tries everything she can to persuade him not to punish Reggie. She even gets ready to sacrifice herself, but David sticks Reggie back in suspended animation. At the hospital, Megan pays Ben a visit and accuses Ethan for letting the bomb incident to happen. She reveals that Ethan had already arrested Harold, but he released him because Harold is his friend, Kate's husband. This disappoints Ben because he believes that one should fulfill one's responsibility, instead of leaning towards people he or she knows. When he talks to his parents about it, Teresa suspects Megan is whispering something bad in Ben's ear. Just then, Amy visits Ben's ward, so Ben's parents leave them alone. Outside, Ethan is talking with his wife about the Easter bombings. He admits that he had the culprit in his custody, but he received orders from his superiors to release him. As a result of his actions, the terrorists ended up killing 621 people. Elsewhere, Harold and a team member named Alan are still pursuing their mission to breach the fence. The two of them go to the construction depot, destroy the CCTV camera, cut the lock, and steal a dump truck. Following this, Alan decides to penetrate the fence and flee, but Harold decides to stay because he cannot leave without Kate, so he instructs Alan to proceed. Later, Ethan, who learns about the stolen truck, embarks on a mission to locate the truck. While doing so, he comes across Harold and pursues him before arresting him. Meanwhile, Alan accelerates the truck and strikes hard on the fence, finally penetrating it. He believes he has escaped to his world, but he has actually made access to the Abbeys to enter Wayward Pines. Alan is devoured by the hungry Abbeys, who then enter the Wayward Pines. At the same time, Ethan arrives and shoots the Abbeys. He also makes sure that the other Abbeys won't be able to feast on any more people that night. After this, David dispatched a team to quickly fix up the fence. During this, David informs Ethan that the people of the town are pumped up on fear, paranoia, and entitlement, and are demanding that the terrorists be reckoned. According to David, Kate is the leader, who is giving orders to her team, and as a result, he asks Ethan to execute her in order to save Wayward Pines. David also warns him not to repeat the mistake as the Eastern bombing. On the other hand, we see a school guy named Jason and his buddies, who storm the sheriff's office, bosses around Ethan's assistant, Arlene, and demands that the reckless group be executed. At the hospital, Pam approaches Teresa and secretly hands her a key card, claiming that she should know everything. Teresa grabs the key card, destroys the CCTV camera, and enters Plot 33, where she discovers an underground tunnel. Later, Ben notices the doctors hurrying towards Amy's ward. He also wakes up from her bed and heads to her ward, only to discover that Amy has a swelling in her brain and has to undergo an emergency surgery. This breaks his heart and causes him to sob. Meanwhile, Ethan confronts Harold and shows him pictures of Alan's corpse, persuading him that the Abbeys exist. Ethan also demands a list of his team members' names, and this time, Harold agrees, providing all 14 names. Following this, Ethan goes to the headquarters and asks David to locate those 14 people. Upon doing so, they discover that all of those people have removed their chips and are no longer connected to the grid. Later, the students gather outside the hospital to show their support for Ben and Amy. Seeing this, Ben walks out and appreciates their support. He also claims that the previous incidents were a breach of law and that the perpetrators must be reckoned. Jason, who is also in the crowd, asks Ben when his father will reckon them, to which Ben responds that he will not. After learning this, Jason storms back into the sheriff's office, wrestles the keys from Arlene, opens the shotgun closet, and gets the detained reckless group, including Harold, on their knees for an impromptu execution. After this, he blasts Harold along with the rest of the crew away one by one. At last, he is about to shoot Kate, but Ethan arrives just in time and shoots Jason from behind, knocking him out. Following the incident, Ethan asks that Kate reveal the whereabouts of the remaining members of the reckless group, or else many people will perish. She also says that she knows someone is going to reckon her at some point, so she figures it might as well be her old pal Ethan. But before Ethan can talk her out of this, Teresa appears and tells Ethan and Kate to follow her to the underground area she discovered at Plot 33. With the help of the key card, they enter a room and find a computer containing video dispatches from people who have left the town. They also see a video of Agent Hassler, who is recording from the Bay Area, showing the Golden Gate Bridge, half of which has sunk in the water. After this, the three devise a strategy to finally drop the big bomb on the townspeople, alerting them that there is nothing out of the town, and that David has been pulling everyone's strings. Following this, Ethan informs David that he is ready to execute Kate, but with the condition that all of the town people be present at the reckoning location, to which David agrees. When everyone gathers, Ethan and Kate reveal what is really going on in town, as well as all of David's secrets. However, Megan still tries to defend David, and as a result, Teresa slaps her in front of everyone. Eventually, everyone finds all of this plausible and is persuaded by Ethan and Kate. However, before they can band together to get David to loosen his grip of their necks, David turns off the power in the town, including at the fence, allowing the Abbeys to enter. The people panic and are unable to comprehend what is happening when Ethan receives a call from Pam. She instructs him to take everyone to the underground tunnel at Plot 33. Ethan informs the crowd about the underground tunnel and directs them to proceed. He, Kate, and the reckless group head towards the sheriff's office to retrieve weapons, while Teresa goes to the hospital to pick up Ben and Amy. Meanwhile, Pam approaches David and tries to persuade him to put a stop to all of this. However, David acts like a delusional tyrant and orders the security to put her back to hibernation. At the hospital, the doctor claims that Amy is too weak to move, but Teresa claims that there is no other way out. She then asks the doctor for the medications that will keep Amy stable. The doctor goes to get some medicine, asks them to wait a moment, but he is apprehended by Abbeys. When the doctor doesn't return for a while, Teresa goes to check on him and discovers that the Abbeys have already arrived. She rushes back to the kids and tries to flee the hospital. However, they are attacked by the Abbeys, but luckily, Ethan arrives and rescues them all. Soon after, the Abbeys infiltrate the town and begin devouring the residents, causing chaos. Kate and the reckless group fight the Abbeys in an attempt to keep them at bay. Despite this, a large number of Abbeys overpower them and eventually kill all of the reckless group except for Kate. Later, all of the survivors make it inside the tunnel. Following this, Ethan inquires of Megan as to where the tunnel leads. Initially, Megan is hesitant to reveal it because she still has faith in David. But Ethan, Kate, as well as Ben convince her that David wants all of them dead, and as a result, she agrees to open up. According to Megan, the tunnel leads to an elevator that will take them to David's headquarters in the mountains. Everyone moves forward except Megan, who decides to stay back in case more students arrive. At first, Ethan and Kate enter the elevator to ensure that everything is fine. On the other hand, wounded Jason and several other students make it into the school's safe place. At the headquarters, Pam is placed in a hibernation chamber, and soon after, the security guards notice Kate and Ethan. All the security guards rush to stop them except for a sympathetic guard, who gets Pam out of the hibernation chamber just in time. Meanwhile, Kate and Ethan manage to take out all of the security guards and provide the green light for the rest of the people. Several people, including Amy, enter the elevator in the first lot, while Teresa, Ben, and the rest of the survivors wait in the second lot. At the same time, the Abbeys burst through the tunnel, murder Megan, and make their way to the elevator. Amy, who arrives at the headquarters, informs Ethan of the Abbeys entering the tunnel. Following this, he rushes down to the tunnel and holds the Abbeys back until everyone is in the elevator. When David notices this, he switches off the elevator, trapping Ethan and others in the middle. Meanwhile, the Abbeys are climbing up towards the elevator, so they must act quickly. As a result, everyone exits the elevator and begins ascending the stairs. Ethan stays back and prepares the bomb for detonation. Ethan, who made a vow to protect the townspeople, sacrifices his life by blowing himself up in an elevator. As the Abbeys approach, putting an end to all of this. Hearing the explosion, Ben rushes to the door, calling out to his father, but soon he gets conked on the back of the head by debris from the elevator shaft explosion, causing him to fall into a coma. In the next scene, Ben regains his consciousness in the hospital and finds Amy, who is now a nurse. She addresses him as Mr. Burke and talks to him as if he were a stranger. He inquires as to the reason for her behavior, to which Amy responds that they are being watched. He then asks how long he was unconscious for, to which she reveals 3 years and 4 months. Furthermore, she informs him that Wayward Pines is once again ruled by fear and surveillance of first-generation kids who believe David is a visionary and savior. This shocks Ben, and when he walks around the town, he notices David's statue as well as the hanging bodies of Ethan and the other reckless group. Subscribe to see more videos like this, turn on the notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Next amazing series coming up. Thanks for watching.